Hey guys. And he was kind of beating all around the bush, and he said the reason was because really the person he has back home is his findom, and that she's finding. And I was like, what? That's a thing?
But there's applying it, and then there's the actual action of communication.
Right.
Like when you discipline a child, you tell
Keep going. And then when we do it, you gotta say, "Scissor me, daddy," like that. All right.
No, you know.
This is
Different.
not the fucking thing to do. Like,
They think that's normal.
I got you, like, buddy.
I can't.
I can't help her.
Minutes later, I see a pizza slide under my door. No contact. Like, I'm good.
You see the pizza slide under the door with the hands, and your fucking hands slam down on top of it and grab it.
We have an initial physical type of what we like to see initially, because our eye is always drawn to something. I can see a tall guy, big and broad shoulders, and I'm like, ooh, nice. But if he talks to me, and I'm gonna be like, maybe not. Okay, so Mike, until we get the rest of the guys in, do you want to start with your first question for us ladies? First of all, are you drinking a Capri Sun?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. First things first, what is happening?
Okay. So I'm
Hello.
good. I'm good, right? Check. 1 2 1 2.
You're good.
Okay. I've been having issues with this goofy computer all day.
Yeah?
So my fault about that. Welcome in. Of course, we got Questions Podcast. It's just this me and this computer with our technical difficulties and all that good extra jazz. So I'm your host, one of your hosts actually, Mr. Hennessy. I got to make sure my mic is good, my mic stuff is right. Joined with the basic one.
Hi.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. She said I'm early for once. Listen, it ain't for once. You early, period.
And you're always here. So
yes,
we're excited about that.
Yes, she is always here. So, for everyone that is coming through, make sure that y'all. Well, we'll get all that stuff going again. But make sure that you follow us on all platforms. Chris, we got Questions, Mike Basic. What you drinking?
Okay, that's regular wine.
I'm about to say you drinking that infused wine. About to trash
I
yourself
have
on the
one
live?
bottle left, and I thought about crack. I can't. If I crack it open now, halfway through, my eyes are gonna be like this. Like when I
That
tell
infused
you,
one.
yes.
I don't even want to hear the stories about that one again.
I can't do a full. I don't think I would ever be able to do a full glass.
Of the infused one?
Yeah, but I did enjoy it.
That one probably was a tough one to drink. I ain't gonna lie. When you told me how that went for you and stuff, I was like, oh, yeah.
I wasn't disappointed.
No, I ain't saying you were disappointed. I'm just saying like the overall, just the situation with it. Like when you don't, like if you don't know that it's actually infused.
That's what. So I was actually talking about it on my last live, and I was telling people about it, but I also made sure to let them know that if you are not used to infused products, that the smell or the flavor might throw you off because it's not, it's infused. But if you know what to expect, you're gonna like it.
Yeah, it's still like if you're not. I'll put it like this: if you're a person who drinks wine and stuff like that, please pay attention to the wines that you drink.
Yes, pay attention. It does say infused, and it does label it clearly. It tells you on the label, even on the samples, it does tell you what it's infused with and how many milligrams. So,
yes. But we got a nice fun topic today. Basic. And this your time to shine. Go get him, girl.
So tonight's topic is an interesting one. I was talking to Ozzy before we came in here, and he was like, he's out and working. So of course, because of the time zone, he's not able to join us. But he was saying this is one he would have loved to have been a part of. We're
Mhm.
talking about who you are in a relationship versus outside of relationship, the different decisions and the way people live life differently and make different choices when they're in a situation versus outside. What hand movement did I do to require balloons?
The peace sign, doing all that.
Peace sign does like confetti, or I don't know. Anywho,
There's something to you, some gangster stuff.
it's who you are, like what decisions do you, the different decisions that people make and how they change up their lifestyle in a relationship versus outside of relationship. Hi, Ray.
Oh, Rachel in the joint. Hey,
I will
man.
say, as I was going
What's
through
up,
some
Rachel?
of the things that I think people do, I'm guilty of some of them. I have been guilty, not all the time, but I have been definitely guilty of some of them.
Okay. Okay. Well, for me, have I been guilty of them? Yes.
Yeah.
Big time. I think
Do you
everybody.
think that everybody does? I think
Yeah.
it's a natural. Here's the thing, and before we start talking about it, and I know we're still waiting for people to kind of like come in. It is natural for your life and your choices to shift a little bit when you are in a relationship or a situation, or you like someone. It's not all going to stay the same because someone new is in your life, or you are not doing single things the same, things you would do normally when you're single. But there are some things that don't necessarily have to change that I feel like we subconsciously, or is that correct? Subconsciously change. Yeah. Like maybe we don't realize that we've changed in those ways, but we do. Hi Chico. Hey Chico, did you make it over here from TikTok? Thank you for coming and welcome.
Yeah, welcome in, y'all. Welcome in. I feel like I should compensate for my, time that I wasn't here. I should go online. Oh, it's Chris Evans from TikTok.
Okay, so Chico and I have this running joke. He says that he said his first time coming in that he was Chris Evans, and I said, oh, okay, well then I'm Robert Downey Jr. It was because
so you had a joke. Okay, nice. Yeah. I like it.
But thank you for coming, Chico. I didn't know if you were actually going to make it, but I appreciate you coming over. So just to give you a little preface, and hey, Susu. So for everybody who's here and who
Susu in the building. Hey, you. So
tonight's going to be a fun conversation. It's not going to be overly serious. We're talking about the things that we do, both subconsciously and consciously, both inside and out of relationships, like things that we might change up in our lives. Some of these things can be problematic. Some of them are not. And whether or not they're problematic is really based on the person and the situation and what works for you, because we don't all live by the same rules. And we don't have to do anything. And we don't have to do, we make our choices for ourselves and what makes us happy. I think probably at the end of this, bottom line is, as long as you're continuing to like stay focused on your overall happiness and mental health and wellness and all that stuff, then whatever you choose to do, if that's what works for you, then that's what works for you, right? Hi, Crystal.
What's up, Crystal?
So I know she's not in here yet, is she?
Oh.
Shiloh.
No. Nope, she's not there yet.
Because I know you were mentioning that she had brought up in conversation how people stop working once they get in a relationship, which is wild to me.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let me take that back. It's not wild, because after I said it, it's not wild. I guess I can imagine that there have been some situations that are built upon like women going into maybe a marriage. A woman or a man might decide, I am going to be the breadwinner and you be the stay-at-home person, parent. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Yeah. It was different ideas. It was different ideas that had came up. Remember I told you, probably a few weeks ago, that was one of the things that was presented to me was about like, yo, this is good ideas for y'all to possibly do and stuff like that. That was one of the things mentioned about people stopping to work while you're in a relationship, or like it happens like you get into this relationship with somebody and the next thing you know, and it ain't just a man. We're not talking about just a woman just quitting her job. It is definitely men. I don't really know women to quit their jobs. I've never experienced it, but that's some shit. Like it's like people will go and stop working because they got into a relationship where somebody's making enough money, or y'all got comfortable with each other, and then you stop kind of talking, and they got comfortable and shit. And but I've heard more. I mean, I can imagine more men that probably really didn't have a job in the first place.
Right.
Like they might have had a job that was like okay, but nothing serious.
Right. I know. So I will say this. I feel like my mother has often been under the notion that if I were to ever get into a serious relationship, that would mean that I would have to work less. Because my mom is from the old school where men took care of women. And so I think she still lived under the notion that if I were to have ever gotten married, then maybe I would marry someone who would want to take care of me, and then I would not have to work as hard. I don't know where they do that at anymore, but that's not probably realistically going to happen, right?
Right.
Hey, Holdo. So that's realistically not going to happen. And then I have friends who an objective of theirs, a goal in life, would be to be a kept woman and to no longer have to.
That's their goal in life?
I wouldn't say in life, but the ultimate optimum relationship goal would be to find a man who is willing to take care of them so that they don't have to work anymore and they can just be a kept woman. You would be surprised. There are, I don't want to say organizations, but groups or like friends, like groups of people or women who get together, and their goal is to make themselves the ideal trophy wife, right? So it has to do with the hair, the looks, the way they dress, they work out together. There's it's almost like a formula, and they put themselves in positions to meet wealthy men who can take care of them so that they don't have to work. So their job is to make themselves the ideal trophy wife so that they can put themselves into social positions to meet men who will be willing to take care of them because they are the ideal trophy wife. And that completely, I remember when I first moved to Atlanta, having someone tell me about that, about how she knew people. It does come, you're right. Chris said it comes with the cost. It does come with the cost. But I feel like a lot of women are completely willing to take that cost because they don't have to work. They'll do whatever. And it also comes with the cost, because I know a lot of men who will say, if I'm going to be the breadwinner, there are things that you're going to have to do.
All right. Hold on. Solar flare to the face.
Is there a group of women that practice home care? I don't know. Possibly. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? And then I remember that one time we talked about it in here maybe briefly. Was it Love? It was Married at First Sight, the most recent, I think, season. If any of you guys have watched it, anybody in here, if you watched it, there was one particular couple where the gentleman was like, I want to travel the world and figure out what my passion is. And so he was telling his wife, or his potential, they get married at first sight, I forgot, his wife, that for them to stay together, he's asking her to let him not work so that he could figure out what his passion is. And she was like, I don't think we're gonna move in the same place then, because you can't help me with these bills. I'm not taking care of you. Oh, Crystal's seen it. Okay, they get together and vacuum. No one does vacuum parties together. So no one's doing that. Yes, and listen, if that would have been me, I would have had her same reaction. So at one point during the season, they came down to talking about what their living arrangements would be and who would be moving in with who. And she was like, I don't think I want us to live together. And he was like, what do you mean? How could you say that we're married? She was like, yeah, but I don't know. You don't have a plan. And I don't know what your finances are. And You're telling me that you want me to go into this relationship knowing that I'm going to be responsible for all of our finances while you travel and figure out your passion.
Yeah, that's wild as shit. Support me through my shit.
Right. And I get I get that when things happen once you get into a relationship, and maybe there might be a time where your partner might have to pick up the slack.
Mm-hmm.
But to say that I'm getting into a relationship so that I can figure out what my passion is and I can like let you take the brunt of everything is crazy.
Yeah, that's a no-go. That's a no-go for me. Like, remember, so this is kind of correlating around what we're talking about to be like, which happens within it. So it's like we were talking about like what happens when someone loses their job or loses certain functions at a or whatever, like while y'all together. Would you stay or would you deal with it? Would you stay in that relationship or stay with that person if they lost their job?
Right.
A lot of people, most of us will be like, okay, how long would it take you to get back up? Like what's happening within it to get you back up, whatever. But I was actually saying, I think we talking about would a person be wrong if they just say, hey, I don't know if we should date right now because you aren't stable yet.
Right.
And is it a bad thing? Like, is that something that happens within the relationship? If y'all stop talking because of it, then and then that's another thing too, Crystal, being married.
Right. I think that's definitely a thing to like to really like consider. What's the status of the relationship?
Mm-hmm.
How deep in are y'all? Into the relationship and the commitment. Golda was saying, okay, men will stay longer than women. I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily believe it.
I've never known women to stay with, or men to be like, the ones that will stay with a woman longer if she did. I mean, no. Hold on. He might be on to something just a little bit because most men are already want to be caretakers in their own way. Not saying this is every man. We're not applying this to every man. But most men will say they want to be the caretaker of the situation or whatever. So most men will stick around with that because they're like, all right, that's, but if that's not how y'all foundation is built, chances are it's a no.
So I will say this. I also think children might play a factor into that.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly a man will stay longer if there are children that are also involved. And because it's a family, right? And you have to be able to take care of your children. But I can imagine in a new relationship, like in a fresh relationship, and your spouse, and it wasn't your original agreement, that wasn't something that you both decided that you wanted to do, and that the person was just not going to work and you were going to take care of her. And he all of a sudden is not working and you're taking care of all of her needs and y'all are still like in the beginning stages. I can't see a man staying in that particular situation. Really? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Most men live like that. Women are not. What do you I don't know if I completely understand what you mean, Goldo. What do you mean by most men are wired? Like what? Because I don't know if I understand. Let's see. She said, was married 21 years and had my own income. So when I left, I could maintain my own. Downfall is I had to learn how to let the man I'm dating be the man and do. Susu, let me tell you. I think that is for me the hardest thing for me that will be for me to transition, and even in daily dating, even in dating and like in my daily life, right? My mother was in a relationship. My father told her after she had me that he didn't want her to work anymore. He just wanted her to stay home and take care of the kids, and he was the breadwinner, right? So my mom stopped working a year after having me because my dad asked her to stop working. He wanted her to stay and take care of us, and he would work. So that was their arrangement. And when I got older, one of the things that my mom taught me was to always be able to take care of myself. And not because she was trying to say that she hated her situation. I think she was not, it wasn't like she was trying to exit her situation. I think she just felt at a certain point in her life, it felt terrifying to her that if anything were to have ever happened to my dad, she didn't know what she was going to do. Like she had no skills. She hadn't worked in years. She didn't know what she would do if anything had ever happened to my dad. And that fear was something that resonated with her. Like there was a point in time in her life where like she was like, I don't know what I would do. Like I don't know. I haven't
She
worked
lived with that
in
fear
years.
that whole entire time.
Yeah. I
That's
know there was a point in time when like she wanted to work, and at that time, by the time she was like, I want to change it, she had like an injury to her back, and she couldn't do certain things. But like also was terrifying to like not have been in the workforce for so many years and to like try to figure out where you belong and what you do when all she did at that point was be a mother to us. And I know that had to be like terrifying. Like you don't know what your skill set is, what you can do, like all those things were going through her mind. And she always told, because she had 3 girls, and she always told us, be able to take care of yourself. And not because I told you, like my mom is she's very old school. She likes to still live with the idea that maybe I'll find a man that'll take care of me, but that's not going to happen. And part of the reason why that's not going to happen is because I've become so independent that I don't even know how to properly accept a man doing things for me in dating. It feels awkward. It feels weird to ask for something. It feels weird to accept a gift. It feels weird for someone to do. I don't know what that, I can't say I don't know what that feels like, but it just feels so awkward to have someone do things for me. You know what I mean? It feels very, I don't know how to let a man take care of me. Mm-hmm. I don't know how. Would I love to be spoiled? Absolutely. Would I ever be like, I'm not going to work? No, because I feel like contribution is important, and also being able to have my own is important. Mm-hmm. But would I just posted something actually on my Instagram that says, I would love to be spoiled, but I'm so used to saying, it's cool, I got it. 100%. That's my life. Like, I don't know how to allow someone to take care of me. So I think, like, I get what Susu means by that's hard to allow a man to do things for you when you've become so independent that you don't know how to allow anybody to do anything for you.
Yeah. I mean, I can, she said that it had to be a scary feeling. Yeah. I mean, so, within the beginning stages of relationship, because obviously we're getting to that, we got to get to that meat and potatoes of it. Based off of what I'm hearing is like everybody's responses are usually the same. And this is, like I said, this is just about everybody's experience. This isn't about targeting anybody. Everybody's personal experience and what they've been through, or what what they're currently going to, what they're doing with their life. Just listening to a lot of it, a lot of people still exist in the ways of like those traditional things. If you're basing off of how Goldo feels about it, those are those traditional ways of how things went. You know what I mean? Like men take care of women, women do this, and then that's just it. Unless you financially can do that, it does not really exist the right way, because it costs a lot of money to take care of you and another person and children and house and cars and all types of everything. Everything costs money. And there isn't no more going to the store and buying milk for 25 cents. There is no more going to the store and buying eggs for 50 cents. Eggs are $10, damn near.
Right.
You need to be making a shit ton of money. And there's not a lot of people.
Where are you getting $10 eggs from? And what kind of eggs are
No, eggs. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, well, eggs have jumped like crazy. It has gone up in price. Eggs are very expensive now. Eggs got to be at least $4 or $5 down there. No, I get it, but I know there's a lot of people in this world that do think that, women and men need to be doing the same things we did back in those days, and it's very hard to do those things. It's extremely hard to do those things. Trying to exist in a time that does not stand right now, it's I love it. With time you'll get accustomed. I
think she's talking about what I was saying about being able to let a man take care of me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully she ain't too far behind. Sometimes this thing rewinds it, but it goes back. But
yeah,
no one is saying that, and I guess I think people still have them thoughts because they were still raised that way. A lot of people were still raised to think like a person should take care of them. So a lot of people in hindsight, even though you might not want it for yourself, there are people who still kind of like, I mean, maybe he can take care of me. Like they still sit in those same worlds and sit in the same realm. And it's like, yo, listen, to each his own. Go do your thing. If you find a person that can financially take care of you and another person, do it. But there's consequences to all this shit. Like,
Right.
it really is. You know,
And
some people will try to feel like they own you. Not all the time. Sometimes you find the perfect situation and it is what it is. But that's a very tough, slippery slope to live. Like,
Mhm.
especially in today's society where it's like everything is in your face now. Social media is in your face, women are in your face, men are in your face, you know, things have changed, you know, you're existing in a different time. Like this, the things aren't the same. It's just not the same. You know, like
Right.
it's hard to live that life now. I need a woman to take care of me, but I'm sorry, I'll put that up there. I'm just gonna read off what he's saying. I need
Yeah.
a woman to take care of me, but for real, I love taking care of my lady. Oh hell yeah, bro! Listen, I love when women take responsibility into taking care of each other. I think
Yeah.
that we play this game where we're not taking care of each other. It's like one person need to be doing this. We've
Right.
had episodes where we talked about taking, you know, when it comes to um men and taking care of women and women and taking care of men, and how, you know, people feel like they need to do that because that's their role in life. And it's like, no, I need to take care of each other. You know,
Right.
like, okay, guess what? If I go out on dates and I got my lady, she pay for the dates, I'm happy as fuck. And if I go on dates and I pay for it, I'm happy as fuck. Like this is just what happens in life. You know, like
Yeah.
we gotta understand, like, this is, you know, you create the relationship that's for you. You don't make it about what older generations brought to the future with you. It don't
Mhm.
exist like that. Older generation wasn't making $250,000 a year as a base salary to make sure you took care of a family. They were making something like 20 grand a year, 30 grand a year. That
Mhm.
Go ahead, Basic. I know you want to say something.
I know. I was gonna say. Before I get to race time, I was gonna say, you're true. Reciprocation, like equal reciprocation of one person like we take care of each other, is beautiful in a relationship. But to kind of go back to something that you had said before, I get why it would be like you have to ask yourself, if you get into a relationship and you're both working, and then your partner, whether it be male or female, all of a sudden stops working, and you have to say to yourself, how long do I take care of you before you
Oh,
get the gumption to like say, let's get up, I need to go back? Like, how long do we say this is okay? How
yeah.
long do I keep taking up the slack? Like, what is the plan? What
Mhm.
is, like, it's not just you get to like not do anything because we're in this together. There has to be a plan
Right.
for you to get back up on your feet. like at what
Right.
point do we like say enough is enough?
Right.
Ray was saying, let me go back to her comment. She was saying we're in a time where people need to take care of themselves inside and out so they can attract exactly what they need. I agree with that 100%. But I think that kind of like transitions into like the second point that I was going to make. I think we can do that initially, and then sometimes you get into a relationship and all that goes away because you've gotten your relationship, right? So then you stop doing the things that you were doing to take care of yourself because you're in your relationship. You got what the desired thing was, and somehow along the way you stop taking care of yourself.
Yeah. All right, so real quick before we continue on, everybody that's in here, please like, subscribe, and follow us right here on YouTube. I'm also live on my Facebook, which is the Facebook people. Hey, what's up, y'all? Facebook. We're live on Twitter. I don't even know why we use it, but I just do because Twitter has a weird algorithm, and I like it. And we're live on my Twitch at the same time. There's so many different avenues that we're live on, but make sure that y'all liking and following us and subscribing to it. Send it out to some friends, you know, family, stuff like that, that might want to talk about or has familiarity with this topic, and reading comments as I'm doing stuff. But yeah, everybody just make sure y'all sit right here because I feel like it's going to eventually get spicy and juicier. Hopefully, I have a guest on soon. I sent it out to her, and yeah, it was my friend, the one that was on the podcast with me before, but she was supposed to be coming through. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you don't come through, then hey, we'll catch you the next time. But another thing, what else? I don't want to change the topic, whatever the case is. I feel like everybody's doing it, but for us, the geek community and stuff like that, we lost our hero, our person. He made this show right here, Dragon Ball Super. That's one of the reasons why I moved out of the way. Dragon Ball Z. His name was Akira Toriyama, and for us that grew up with that show and big time blurred nerd geek community. We lost a good one. It's literally has made its way to everywhere. Rather, it is the cartel itself in Mexico had a truce to not do crime, to celebrate his life, to literally Stephen A. Smith talking about Dragon Ball Z. It's made it everywhere. Local news stations everywhere. And it's like, you don't realize how big an impact of something is until you see everybody talking about it, regardless if you didn't like it or if you liked it or not. The impact is real. It's like at this point, it's like losing a Michael Jackson, losing a Prince, and you don't even realize that's how big it is. So, shouts out to the community and Akira Toriyama for doing great work and always being a private, positive person and keeping people entertained with silly characters just like this right here. And in the words of Stephen A., Vegeta. I don't know who the fuck that was, but all right. I guess it's Vegeta. Not Vegeta, but Vegeta. Cool. So, all right, let's continue on. All right, go ahead, Basic. Take it away.
What was I talking about? I was saying that people often do the things they need to do to get into a relationship, and then once they're in a relationship, they stop doing the things. Ray was just saying she agrees because she's felt. I think we've all fallen victim to that, right? I think we've all sort of fallen victim to being in a relationship or taking care of ourselves outside of a relationship, and then once we get in one, we put that happy weight on. Or we stop for some reason going to the gym, or little things like that, and not even doing it on purpose. We just stop.
I'm just going through comments. You don't have to read it.
No, I was just reading. So I'll be 48 next month, and our kids are all adults at this time. We both are into traveling and just enjoying. I mean, what a good time, to be. What's up,
Kira? How are you?
Hello. Yeah. But also
I'm gonna text you a little
bit.
That I'm a Dragon Ball fan, so go ahead.
You also find that when you get out, when people break up or when they have breakups, then all of a sudden there's this thing of, now I'm gonna start taking care of myself.
Oh, beef with Barkus.
That's because people do that stuff for the sole purpose of getting it. True, Marcus. If you're only doing it,
let me know if you want to come up too. I'll send you the beacon. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. If you're only doing it to get into a relationship, then that's not helping you any. And then if you once you get out, if it's I'm gonna start working out. Now I'm gonna start focusing on myself. I feel like that's also equally as not unhealthy. But why aren't we equally as important in a relationship versus outside of a relationship?
Yep.
I want to take care of myself in the same way while I'm in a relationship and happy as I do when I'm outside of a relationship. I want to be as mentally, spiritually healthy as possible, both in and out. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the things that it takes both in and out. But I feel like it can be a thing, even if we're not doing it on purpose. People will switch up their habits when it comes to taking care of themselves when they're in a relationship versus outside of a relationship. It almost once you're single, it amps it up. You've got to do more to take care of yourself when really you should be doing it the whole way through, whether you're in or out of a relationship.
Yeah. So what you said about the gaining of the weights and all the other stuff, it happens all the time. I feel like every relationship I've ever gotten into, 13 pounds came with that motherfucker. I don't know why, because then people start feeding you and shit, and then you start eating, and y'all start eating out, and the next thing you know, you show up swollen in a motherfucker. But I do feel like that is It's normal. Like y'all are like doing things with each other, getting to know each other, and all. It's a lot of eating around getting to know each other. It's a lot of dinner,
Mhm.
a lot of snacks, a lot of all that shit. But that means y'all need to start, if y'all get to a point where y'all start getting freaky deaky, y'all gonna have to start having sex more. Go ahead and sweat that shit off, man. I mean, put some work in, you know what I mean? Basically, put some work in. You looking down, I know that's what you. He said, "I'm fat," and or hell, you wild. No. But yes, what is one of the things, basic, that you felt as though that you personally did inside when you started the relationship, like? It's something that you did right here, but what changed when what personally do you remember your change happening when you got within the relationship? Like what personally changed that was of significance to you where you recognized it, like, oh fuck.
I think I've had both. I've had extremes. I've had mild ones, then I've had extreme ones where I felt like, especially in my younger years, and maybe even sometime in my older years, I've had an instance where I've put my own personal like passions to the side to help my partner like realize their stuff and do their thing.
Yeah.
And at the time it felt genuine because I wanted them to be happy, right? And I was, you're in love and you want them to be happy, and so you help them and you put your focus into like helping them. But when you're out of the relationship, you realize, maybe I went about that the wrong way, because while I was doing that, I was putting my stuff on the back burner and all my stuff was taking a back seat. And it doesn't happen maliciously, and they're not asking you to do it, and they're not telling you to put your stuff on the back burner, but you are happy and you're in love and you're like, oh, well, I'm gonna support them, right? I'm gonna do whatever I can to like make this happen for them. And if my stuff has to take a back seat, then okay, it's fine. I'm still like, it can wait, but before you know it, you constantly putting yourself like to
pushing yourself to the back.
You keep pushing yourself to the back, right? You keep like you keep finding yourself like always focusing on what their things are and not on your stuff anymore. Right. And sometimes that can lead to resentment that neither one of you even knew was going to happen. Like, you might end up resenting not necessarily your partner, but the situation that you're in, because you've put your stuff on the back burner. I know I felt that way before. Like, I've done that before, where I felt like I've given and given and given, and then at some point in my relationship felt like, well, damn, like I don't know what I'm doing. Or it might have been when the relationship was over and just realizing that I stopped doing all the things that I loved. Right. Because and not consciously, I was just doing what made me happy at the moment was making my partner happy. And so I put my stuff on the back burner and then realized later, well, damn, what was I doing? What was I doing for me? And when's the last time I did this? Like, I don't remember the last time I picked this up, or it should have been a thumbs down. But like I've had the epiphany after the relationship where I've been like, well, damn, I wasn't doing any of my stuff. Like, my stuff became their stuff. And it was out of just being happy and in love, and just doing something. So I've had that extreme too. I think that's probably the most extreme that it's ever been. But I'm definitely guilty of having that happen before.
Yeah. I would say I don't know for sure if mine was as it was like yours, but I hear so many cases of your particular thing happening. Mm-hmm. Like that's almost damn near normal. What's going on, Kyle, man? What's up, man? What's up, Craig? How are you, brother? Gotta put the thing up on the screen. So, just to kind of go in what you were saying, like I guess I would more or less ask, like, is that something that you felt like you did again, or did you learn your lesson that very first time, or did you do what you did again a different way, or you just was like, no, I'm never taking that same approach?
I think that I wouldn't say it was like a one and done. I think it had happened. Like, I could see traces of it in another relationship. In another relationship, see myself maybe starting to repeat those same patterns and being like, wait, you got to take a step back because you're doing the same thing that you did before, right?
Yeah.
Or like, because it can happen so quickly, like it's almost easy to fall back into that pattern, you know, unless you are very aware and constantly like being aware of that. It can happen so quickly. Like you could just be like, oh, I'm just so happy, I want to like do everything to make this person happy. And I am a person, my nature is to take care of people. When I love you, I'm taking care of you. I just have to be careful about the ways that I take care of people, and I have to make myself aware that taking care of other people does not mean not taking care of me. So I have to be very conscious of not putting myself in the backseat. So I can say that like, I can see where I might see myself slipping into it slightly, and then just having to make that change. You know what I mean?
Got you. He just messing with you.
After watching, what did he say? After watching it, I don't want to hear you come on here and complain about men being thirsty ever again. When have I ever? So first off, have I complained?
You never complained.
I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean.
It ain't enough for you to fall in love. I want you obsessed. I want you obsessed.
What you mean you don't know what he mean?
I don't know. I don't know.
What you mean you don't know what he mean? You know exactly what he meant.
Listen, I just do my TikToks and right on time.
Shut that shit down and keep it right. You know what I mean? Like, look. You see the comments? Good Google. That's how they gotta talk. You know, you hit them old school words.
Ready to throw that one up. He's always ready, but I don't know what you mean.
You ain't got one of me, so it don't matter.
Listen, I'm sure if I searched, I could find one.
Listen, it is what it is. You know, there should be boundaries. Like you can ask if you can use it. Don't assume you can though, just because we're in a relationship.
Wait, go back to Goldo's comment because I don't.
He said, when entering a relationship, there is no more my stuff or their stuff. It's our stuff now. Yeah, but that's just he is he joking with that one? He might be joking.
Probably.
I don't know.
9 times out of 10 he is.
So I know I had that joint ready to, you know, I pulled the clip and let that bitch out.
Always ready.
Rachel, you know what I mean? But look, this is what I would say. Even when it comes to like how you move in your relationships and stuff like that, right? We all have our ways of how we move within them. To what's going on, Mr. T Monger? How are you?
Carlos, hey Carlos.
I know Carlos. Here, these the wild guys. That's what I'm gonna call them. When they come in, they're fucking wild guys. But I feel like and I'm gonna use their examples of what they're talking about. I will never treat somebody's stuff as if, you know, oh, we in a relationship now. Your stuff, my stuff. No. That's your shit. You came in with your shit. You're gonna leave with your shit. You know what I mean? Like, ain't like I'm gonna take some of your clothes and split it in half. Like, no, you got your shit that belongs to you.
Right.
Y'all do have investments in certain things that y'all have that put into the relationship itself. It should be a case of y'all have a common understanding of how this shit works. We all have been in relationships where you have invested money, you invested time, you invested resources. Y'all probably did a little something together. Stuff happens, you know what I mean? Like those things you can kind of talk about if you want that stuff back or not. Like, I don't know, like y'all need to have that type of agreement. But most people that are married and stuff like that, those really kind of allude to what Goldo was saying, like as far as y'all having y'all stuff together, everything is in an equal setting, because by law and by your marriage contract, because that's basically what it is, goddamn contract, those things, y'all have these things together, you know what I mean? I'm drinking your juice. Yeah, he took that shit to it. He gonna listen. And then you got to sit there and look at him, you know what I mean? Just stare at him while you do it.
You
like,
have my bonnet on? No, I listen, I feel like this. I feel like
that's friendship right there. I love things like that.
I feel like it's important, of course, in any healthy relationship to invest in your partner's interests, right? And to want to take a part in what they might be interested in. And because it's a form of showing how much you care. If I take interest in the things that you like and I'm willing to like participate or at least like show some interest and want to know more about it, that's a way of me showing you that I care about you.
Right.
But I think it's equally important to still maintain your own interests, your own hobbies. Like, just because we are a unit now, we still have to also understand that we're individuals still too. And we have to be able, I think it's so important to like still keep your individual hobbies, like the things that you like. We don't have to do everything together. Do I appreciate that you want to know about what I do and that you like want to take part in it? Absolutely. But I also think it's very healthy for us to be able to operate separately.
Mm-hmm.
And for you to have something of your own and me to have something of my own.
Right.
Because we can share, but we also have to remember that we are individuals.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's healthy
I understand.
to be able to do that.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what it should be. You're absolutely right. I have a question now. Mike's got a question. It's going to change the atmosphere, but I got a question. So when you that beginning stage, we're talking about what happens, within the relationship and then what changed. So that beginning part, right? The stroke, right? It was a little bit, that thing was good. You was getting it in. The reason why y'all in a relationship, because the stroke was probably doing this thing to make you say, okay, I'll do this thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm speaking of hypotheticals right now. What change happens for you personally that will be like, like I don't know if it could be a good thing, it could be a great thing. Like, are you one of the people that like to explore more as far as that, like, within the relationship? Sexually, yeah. So I said the stroke, like the deep stroke and the knocking of the walls and stuff like that. Like, do you feel like somebody would give it they all early and then they change it up and kind of slow down later?
I have been in so many relationships where the sex was great in the beginning and then all of a sudden it's lackluster. And I'm like, you don't feel like we have to keep that same fire and energy alive? It's crazy how often that happens. And I don't like lackluster. So, like, of course, my thing is, the more comfortable we are with one another, the more we should want to, like, maybe be adventurous or maybe do more things. Like, you're my partner. We should be comfortable. We should be not, and I don't mean comfortable in, like, let's just do some basic stuff just because that's just, like, the easy way out. But I mean, like, because you're my partner and we know each other, we should be able to do things and try things. You know what I mean? Like, because I feel safe with you. For me personally, the safer that I feel with you, the more exciting it should be because I feel safe with you. But you would be surprised how many men pull out all the stops in the beginning and then it just becomes like, well, let's just get it done.
Get nasty.
Not even that. Let's just get it done. Let's get the job done.
Yeah, that shit is like the basic things is just
I don't
basic don't like basic.
Don't think that basic stands for basic sex. Don't think that. Don't get that. Let's not get that confused.
The basic stands for
That's
basic.
not what that
definitely don't. I guess the basic don't stand for basic sex. That's funny as shit. In the beginning, there is more lust. When it gets older, the less. I think you wrote that.
I mean, I guess.
I think the longer you with someone, the sex is better, but better because you're more comfortable with the person and because more feelings get involved. Yeah.
That's how I think it should be. Like, the more I'm with a person and the more comfortable I am, I feel like the better, because we should be able to do and try more things and be more involved and more connected. It shouldn't be, let's just like, because I feel like it should get better because we know each other better.
Oh shit!
Because we're more connected. Let's see what Marcus is gonna say. I feel like he's so ready. What?
I ain't got shit to say.
Yes, you do. You guys.
Nah,
me.
I really don't. I ain't got nothing to say. I just wanted to pop in.
Back your ass up from the mic. God damn.
My bad.
God damn.
I feel like
You like this? Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing? Like, god damn.
The more comfortable you are, the more better it should be. Don't comment. Don't do no.
Sorry, fat fingers. What? Oh, from the last.
For the typo.
Don't do no halfway tricks. Because first of all, you didn't pull out all the stops in the beginning. Okay, you only did like half the stuff. Let me tell you a little story. I was dating a guy.
Oh, I got no beer.
What happened?
I'm sorry. I was just thinking out loud.
Oh, I was dating a guy who was saving things that he would not do during sex. Like he was waiting, like holding back. And I was like, well, this is whack. And so I still lost interest after a while. And I remember him saying to me, I should have did that. Yeah, you should. Yeah, nigga, you should have pulled that out from the beginning.
That's funny. That's funny. I've heard that one before. I was like, damn, I should have just did this move right here. Like, wait, what? Like, who goes into it like a fucking scripted wrestling match or something like that?
No,
like,
but 100%, he literally said I was saving it. Saving it for what? Because now you didn't save it, and I'm
Marky,
bored.
what's the onesies of the day?
Oh, my Fenty onesie. Yeah, I need to get some more, but they ain't got nothing on sale. You know?
Men do that all the time, and I think the same. Like, yeah. But you were saying basic about the moves. Yeah. People like, yo, I should have just dropped off the top with the elbow into the yams and then dove in and then came out.
It's
wet.
just the fact that so I told him, I said, you're a tease because you keep saying you're going to do this, this, and that, and it never happens. So why do you keep doing all this talking? It never happens. He's like, oh, I was saving it. Okay, well, we done. So
just sounds like insecurity being
right,
projected.
keep it for somebody else, I guess, because like at this point we're done. I'm done.
I'm saving I'm saving that move for you.
I was saving it.
I'm gonna do it Tuesday at 7:13 p.m.
That could have saved you. It could have saved you had you not saved
it. And then what if he did it? That shit was corny.
Oh my gosh. I guess we'll never know.
That's the part that's funny.
I guess
we'll
never
try
know.
this one move. Like, hey, well, guess what, buddy? It didn't happen.
We'll never know, though. We'll never know.
Okay. So, I would say for me personally, if it in a relationship,
Oh my God.
I think. Oh shit! Basically, you gotta press mute while you at.
No,
like,
I'm gonna be right back. I just had to get up. I have on shorts, and I didn't want to like be all.
It's like you got into a fight.
Shane want to show the thighs clap.
So I guess for me personally, I would say in the relationship, I think as time went on, it just changed up. I guess at those times I wasn't like mentally like, damn, y'all both going to sit there and
No, I'm back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but he's clapping his thighs too. Shit. The sound effects is wild as shit right now.
God.
Anyway,
I can't.
you probably had to. You got pants on, or you just wanted to do it?
No, I just wanted to get a beer.
Hey, so he said, "Yeah, say special." I'm gonna get to your question, comment. For me, like I said, I think it was more or less. It was always good in the beginning, and then it changed later on. But I don't know if it was me. I don't know if it was them. I just don't know if it just like. I have no clue. Just shit just changed. I guess that's just a lack of something at one point. You know, I'm not paying attention. Maybe I'm not doing something, you know, and I guess it's just as time went on for me, it's more or less like, I guess it's how we treat each other in a relationship. If we're in a position where things are going downhill a little bit, I don't think things are going to be as exciting as it was before. So those are the things that happen within the relationship for me. Like, okay, things are going, it's getting a little sour. We're not at a certain space right now. I don't know what you drinking, basic. Go ahead. Y'all be talking. You talk about me. I haven't eaten nothing. I've been a great person when it came to food and all of that. All I hear is bottles being poured. You know,
You ain't got no choke sandwiches.
No, I ain't got no choke sandwiches.
You know, peanut butter sandwiches.
That's been over a month.
Peanut butter on wheat.
Cheese somewhere on that desk.
I ain't got nothing.
Just a random plastic single.
You know he did it before, right?
You had a craft single just chilling on the desk.
That's like
No, I did. I ain't gonna lie. I was making a turkey and cheese sandwich one day, and I left the cheese sitting over here, so I was looking at it. But I'm watching the show, and I kept looking at it. I just randomly ate it, and she was like, "Yo, did you just eat a piece of cheese on the show?"
Dog.
it
You
never
just
fails.
everybody chilling. You just hear like hear that shit going on in the back.
So yeah, but yeah, that has happened. I think things changes, things dwindle, but is it a lesson learned? Hell yeah, it's something that I want to change and make sure that I adjust to whenever I have another long-term relationship. I want to see what I would do now.
It's funny because I know men who didn't realize that was happening. If they had been in a relationship for a while and maybe their significant other had said to them, the reason why I'm seeking outside interest is because the sex just isn't good anymore. Like because you don't do this and that anymore. I don't feel special. I don't feel, the way you used to make me feel. And they were like, oh, well, maybe there is something that I stopped doing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I did get too comfortable and stop doing this and stop making her feel desired. If I can say anything, and this goes both ways, men and women, right?
Just speak for the men. It's okay. You can speak for
No one wants to stop feeling desired, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing worse than when you don't feel like your partner is still sexually attracted to you. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to feel like they're not sexy and they're not desirable and they're not wanted. They still want to feel like their partner craves them in some way. Mm-hmm. You have to be careful to not get so comfortable in a relationship that you don't do that anymore. In the courting stage, we're always trying to make someone feel like we're always telling people how much we want them and how much we desire them. But once you get a person, you don't stop making them feel sexy and desirable just because they're yours. You know what I mean? Like, just because you got me doesn't mean that I don't still want to feel like you crave me and you want me and you want to be with me.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something real quick before, because I know I want to let Marcus have a chance to speak on what we've been talking about. If you have anything to say, I don't want to make sure that I say this.
I'm not monogamous enough for these conversations. I'm just like, I don't relate.
Right.
But you lived the life at one point, so it was a time that
I faked the funk at one point. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm just saying everybody lived a life at one point. Like you've had experience. I'm not saying that's what we need to talk about. Like I'm forcing you into this conversation. I'm just saying we all had a point, or maybe somebody. It won't have to be you, but somebody else felt that way. You know what I mean? Towards it, like, oh, I don't feel like this. I don't feel like that. It's like, okay, so it's like, what do you do to help that situation out? Like, it's so many different.
I have a question. So, Marcus, for you. With you not being monogamous, do you feel like, for what I like specifically with what I was just saying, do you feel like do you ever run into a situation where you don't feel wanted or desired, or is that like the nature of not being monogamous? Like there's always
no. I don't think that there's anything inherent,
right?
To either monogamy or non-monogamy. I do think that everybody likes to feel desired.
Mm-hmm.
I know that the way that my brain works and the interactions I have, that's not really something that I struggle with, because I'm poured into from so many different sources, and beyond my romantic relationships and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not really something that like comes up for me. I'm gonna be a bad bitch whether I'm single or I got a whole football team of partners. So for me, it just doesn't click for me, but I do understand.
Right.
And I don't think that it's inherent of any like relationship style.
Right. I do think that, speaking specifically to that, I know that I've heard a lot of people, like, when they're in relationships for a long period of time and they stopped feeling desired by their partner, it can be a real knock to their self-confidence, which can also make them it's like a trickle-down effect. Like, it makes you start doing things differently, or maybe you don't like wear lingerie. You don't want, because you feel less desirable, you stop doing things that seem more sexual or make you feel desirable. You know what I mean? It's almost like it's a trickle down effect. Like one thing happens and then it sparks the next thing and then the next thing and the next thing. So I feel like that's why it's you have to be careful about whether you're in a serious relationship or not. Like just always letting your partner know that you still desire them, because they might feel like if you don't, then they might seek that attention somewhere else. If I'm not getting you, I can find somewhere else to get in.
Right. And that's why a lot of people in the comments are mentioning communication.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest part, is the communication. Sometimes the one thing I do know that's a constant in it, a lot of stuff like that dwindle because of something that's wrong, that's happening within a relationship itself. If we're speaking just strictly on Marcus monogamy, a lot of things are wrong that are happening between the individuals. Maybe somebody's working too much. Maybe somebody's not paying attention to this. Maybe they're spending more time on the game, or maybe they're spending more time with their friends, or doing this or doing that, and they're not paying attention. Or just maybe we're just speaking on people who live together who are a couple in that way. You know, like, I mean, you don't have to, but it's still like, you know, that's a main factor, that physicality of the person not being around. Even though they're present, they're not really there. So it's like, I do think like sometimes when you got issues, rather y'all have had conversations around things that aren't working too well. There's, you know, maybe the bills and stuff is out of control and somebody needs to decompress a certain way. Like they physically can't see themselves doing something right now, but another person might be feeling this way. And it's like, maybe they're trying to find other ways to bring y'all back, you know, bring y'all back into desires and shit like that. Like, even though you mentally, go ahead, Mark.
No, go ahead. You can finish.
No, I'm saying sometimes like that person is living in this space and then that other person is living in the space mentally. Like, some people need physical things to be able to secure themselves, and then some people need more mental things, more things that are going on around them. Like, man, I need this thing to be straight before I can feel like this. And it's like sometimes that happens within the relationship where y'all run into that wall. And it lasts sometimes it can last a lifetime, sometimes it can last a second. You know what I mean? And that's the communication that needs to be had between y'all. Like somebody has to stop and recognize what's going on and start having the conversations. You know, and because you're going to run into problems like later on. You're going to keep running.
We have like this culture built around being in a relationship is like the pinnacle of fucking existence. And with that, like, comes this idealized version of people, and that how they are affected and move about the world is like intrinsically tied to their partner and the relationship that they have. And it's like people are fully fleshed out human beings. Things can be off. I mean, one, life just you should not have the expectation of things remaining static, or where they are indefinitely. Life changes, people change, we all grow, minds shift, and life impacts upon us. But we're also like fully fleshed out human beings whose existences exist beyond our relationships, as much as we want to idealize that it should be solely encapsulated in that relationship. So like, you know, changes in life affect changes in your body, and there's psychosomatic changes that can happen. Your work life, your friend life. We're getting older now. We're going to be moving into our 40s and mid 40s soon. You're going to come to the period where people are going to be in general losing their parents, you know, and their older generations, and you know, so like there's so much that we're being impacted upon that we don't consider. And a lot of it really just boils down to having in-depth and thorough communication between people to be able to move with like a decent ebb and flow through the changes that impact, you know, upon us in life. Too many times do I hear people are just sitting on feelings. Well, yeah, of course it's gonna blow up at some point. Of course you're gonna be feeling resentment down the road. You're sitting on the feelings when you should be just communicating them. And if you can't communicate them, if you feel that you can't, you need to go back to the drawing board on who you're involved with in your relationship.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of shadow work that also needs to be done in that as well. It's definitely a two-way street. But if you don't feel safe or comfortable expressing these things, there's a bigger problem at hand beyond just whatever it is that's impacting your relationship in that moment.
Yeah. Jasmine Ford, what's going on? What up?
Did you
up, Evan?
Conman's question? I know you said you were.
I'm about to go to. Huh?
I know you said you were going to go back to. I guess was Conman's question that he asked.
Oh yeah, I'll get to that in a second. Hold on. I'm just posting this last thing. I'm my own for team first, no matter who wants to cheer for me. However, any person dealing with me that attempts to act intentionally like I'm not the poo got to go. That's just healthy living.
True. It can go.
So, based off of like what Marcus is saying, the biggest thing that I do recognize that people do at this point in my life now is that we have a lot of emotions that are attached to a person when you're that much involved with them. Like, and what I mean is like they kind of have to be a saving grace at the same time too. Like, oh, if he does it, this makes me feel special, and it's like it's all understood because sometimes y'all love each other a certain way. This thing happens, but I do feel like sometimes you got to go back and pay it. Like Marcus hit on the nose. Pay attention to the person that you're dealing with. If they aren't already an emotional person or they don't know how to do this particular thing, that's how you really pay attention to your person. Do you know their strengths and weaknesses when it comes to being in this relationship in the first place? Everybody has them. So what's up, Barry? Everybody has these things that are actually going on, and trying to change them within it, in my personal opinion, it can do either two things. One, they're going to change it or adjust to it, or they're just going to completely be like, why are you trying to change this? You knew this how it was from the beginning. You know this, you know that. So you're like, you got to learn how to adjust different. You know what I mean? You got to know what you're dealing with. Maybe sometimes write something down on a piece of paper and see if it makes sense, right? Do another tactic that doesn't consist of just necessarily pouring all your emotions and your problems onto somebody. Maybe you should write it down and say, hey, can you read this? Or whatever. I wrote you a note. Can you read this? Because sometimes if you leave them in their own space to see how you're feeling and you just look at it on a piece of paper, they have no choice but to read that now. Because there's a lot to handle it with you personally.
So Remy said some egos aren't accepting of communication, hard truths, and tough conversations. So what are we doing here? I mean, to me, I feel like the bar is pretty damn low, and if you can't so much as communicate or have tough conversations with the person that you're in a relationship with, you might want to reconsider things, because that's just the bare minimum to me.
Yeah, some bare minimum.
I think that she's not saying that we shouldn't do it because of that. It's just a fact of the matter that does exist.
Oh, like, absolutely.
It's of course, ideally, we want people to realize that their self-worth and value does not have to do with how your partner treats you. Of course, but we also have to understand that does happen, that a lot of people do weigh their self-worth based off of how their partner's treating them. It's unfortunate, but it happens. Like, it happens a lot. Like, a lot of people validate themselves by the way their partner treats them, and then once that changes how they feel about themselves. It happens all the time. And we would hope that people should be able to communicate and have these tough conversations, but there are so many people who don't know how to be receptive of that kind of communication. Don't tell me what I'm doing wrong. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people don't even want to hear it. They want to think that they're doing everything right.
And there's a lot of people that don't know that.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, good luck if you do not know how to weed that out. But for those that do, don't date them. Like, if there's something that I don't want in a relationship and you're demonstrating that that's the thing, why am I going to be in a relationship with you? What? No.
All right. Well, basically,
like, oh, I don't like to drink water. Get the fuck out of here. Why would I? What?
You're right. I'm not a water drinker.
Basically, like you had it for. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say you'd be surprised. Like, I think it's also just a matter of people really like sort of reaching a certain level of emotional intelligence, and like you would be surprised how many people don't have that level of emotional intelligence where they're able to be receptive of those kind of conversations, or even have those kind of like communicate those kinds of things. If I can't tell you how I feel about something, we probably don't need to have very like if you can't if I can't have a conversation with you and explain to you how I feel and you can't sit and be receptive of it, then we don't need to have any conversations. But a lot of people don't even, one, understand the importance of that, or two, know how to like what it means to be receptive, or what it means to be like to have like emotional intelligence. Like people live in their own little worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't have those tools whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a lot of times people who don't have those tools are paired together.
Mm-hmm.
They two peas in a pie, just not communicating.
And now they looking like Wario and Waluigi together and shit. Not Mario and Luigi. Mario and Waluigi run into it. Hey, don't touch the bomb. Put it over here. What? And bow, blow them right the fuck up. He said, "Oh, okay. They super idiot brothers. Got it." So
the bar is in Hades.
Damn.
The what?
The bar is in Hades. It's just the bare minimum.
Introspection is not as popular as you think it would. You would be surprised. Like sometimes I can have conversations with people and be like, "Is this what we like? Is this really how you think?" Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, Marcus, let me ask you this question: for your relationships, what? And I can't ask you all of them because I feel like that is invading of asking this question. But is there a constant of something that happens in all of them? Is there all of them constantly the same? And what I mean by that is how you was in the beginning, how y'all are now. Is it constantly struggle? Is there greatness? Is there fun? Is there like what's the constant in your relationship?
There's communication is really constant, but it has to be, even when it comes to just setting aside time, that has to be heavily communicated because my Google Calendar is insane. But that's basically it. It's life happens. I've had conversations with people when they felt like, oh, this has changed and this is how I feel, but it was brought up in what I feel is like a timely manner. It's not like people were sitting on their feelings for like 9 months and then, unbeknownst to me, a grenade is set on my lap one day. That doesn't happen. And then we just have conversations about it. We just talk, but people have a really good and in-depth understanding of each other because we have pretty extensive conversations around things and kind of just trying to understand like how people function. I talk a lot about if somebody wants to get to know me, you're going to understand how I function early on and why I even want to do this in the first place. Mm-hmm. Like I like to have fun and it really doesn't go too far beyond that. But yeah, I would say that of course there's communication, but patience and having grace for each other is the things that are like really constant, kind of just like basic fundamental things that I think just everybody would benefit from. And it's not dependent on it being a romantic relationship. These are things that I carry through all of my relationships because like the time that I book isn't prioritized to my partners. I have all types of relationships. I have a lot of friends and people that intersect in and out of my life that love me and we pour love into each other and stuff. So it's it extends to all my relationships. It's not just romantic relationships.
And I think that's the biggest thing that I'm learning throughout life overall is like everything does not have to be romantic.
Well, I don't center romantic relationships. I center community. And so that plays out a lot differently in how I navigate and move about through life.
Yeah. And I think that, like I said, once again, it's just there's an element that exists that has to always exist if you want to maintain people in this world. If you want to maintain having people in the world, you have to have some type of ship. Fucking know what it is. A friendship is a relationship. That's how I just feel like humans exist like that. But humans, they want people in their life. You know what I mean? You choose people in your life. There's people who don't really fuck with people like that are very selective. Like, all right, I'll let you be here, or I'll let you be here, or whatever. Then you got people who love all types of people who need people in their life. Like, that's just how it goes for some people. But I do feel like you have to create something like if you got a friend that you legitimately care and love, like it's a dope ass fucking thing to actually have that. A person that's just there and is like, when you think about them, you think about good times, you think about fun times, you think about how y'all moving in life. You're able to accept them for what they are, who they are, what they do. Probably even their little flaws is probably decent. Like as long as it ain't crazy disrespectful flaws to life, like you're able to still maintain your friendships with them. They're not problematic. They're not this. They just, this is a dope ass person right here. Like, I feel like most people want that. They want good people in their life. And somebody, because at the end of the day, trying to live this life by yourself completely, so I don't know if it's possible. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I don't know if it's possible just to be.
It's not.
By your. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying I don't know if it's possible to just be by yourself, like 100%. Maybe because that's how I think.
As long as you exist within society, it doesn't this isn't about singlehood or anything like that.
Yeah.
Your existence is the result of so many things, from romantic relationships to fictive kinships to sibling. Like, you exist in a society. If you participate in that society, you cannot do it alone. Your very infrastructure hinges on social networks. Like even your utilities. Oh yeah, you live by yourself, you have running water. How do you think that works? That depends on a sect of society working towards that. There's no one does it on their own. Anybody that thinks otherwise is deluded by hyper individualism.
Yep. So yeah, that's it. I'm done. My TED talk. Go ahead. You got it.
Crack a second one.
How do y'all feel about how people choose to spend how people choose to spend their quality time in a relationship versus outside? And no, Marcus, this doesn't. I heard you say something about like how you prioritize your time, and it doesn't differ. Like, romantic relationships don't hold priority over your regular friendships. But oftentimes, for many people in relationships, sometimes their platonic relationships take a back burner to their romantic relationships, and they're spending more time with their partner. And I know this is kind of like something that amongst people has like split opinions. Some people feel like it's completely okay because you're in a relationship, and so of course you should be spending most of your time with your partner. But a lot of people feel like when you take away from time with the people who you have platonic relationships with, then that just that means that you don't value those relationships as much.
That's how hierarchy works.
I guess if I'm hopefully I'm answering it right. But I think for me in this point in my life, it's like I will recognize if I'm not doing a particular thing, if I'm spending more time with one person, and it feels like that's starting to get back to things that I've done before with only spending all this massive amount of time with one person, I start feeling at this point for me now, I kind of feel closed in a little bit, and I want to get out, get away, not necessarily from the person, but just get away. And that person will start feeling like, oh, well, you don't want to be around me. It's like, no, I don't think that's it at all. I just think that I need other things too.
Right.
Other people.
Do you think that it's because you start the relationship off with spending all your time with them, and then at some point that you realize, okay, maybe this is too much, I need to start doing other things? Like, if you started off where we're always, because I've had that happen in relationships where in the beginning you're so excited, you started off where we're spending all of our time together.
Right. That's a new relationship energy.
Right. And
Mhm.
then at some point you're like, okay, well, this isn't
I'll
gonna
explain to you what
work
happens though.
all the
This
time.
is what happens to me now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I want to spend all the time with that person. It's just that the unavailability of all the friends that I do have changes. It happens with that too. So like, oh, they're busy. They're busy. So now it's like, oh, okay. I'm looking this way now because like, all right, this person is available, and this person, and then we get wrapped up in each other because we are spending more time with each other because people are unavailable in these moments. So it wraps it up a little bit. But then when people become available, I dart right to it. Like, and then to make it feel like, oh, well, we have plans. We've been doing this every Saturday for the past 4 months. And it's like, I know, because a lot of people are unavailable at this point in my life. At this point, we'll say Mike at 38 is not the same as Mike as 20 when I was 28 and 18 and all this other stuff where friendships were heavily like we were like that, but like of course it's different now. So like when you got kids involved, people on different weekends with their children, or they got their kids all week and they can't do stuff all week, and maybe their weekend is spent with something else or doing something else, that shit plays a factor too. Like I'm just giving a dose of the reality of what I'm dealing with, not necessarily of what I think it is overall. This is the reality of what I can remember, what was even happened with me last year with dating and being with someone. Like I literally remember me leaving because I didn't spend enough time outside of that person. And I'm like,
You
fuck.
left the relationship because
No. I had to leave from being around them so much. And that started affecting that person because it was like, oh shit, is he not, why do you want to, you're starting to, these Saturdays or some days we're doing this and you're starting to go out more. I'm like, I don't know. And then it's like unconsciously, I'm like, fuck, I think it's just I wanted to do a little bit more outside of this. I don't want just this thing.
I think it's just a lack of balance.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely
was.
People
What's up, Tony?
And relationships, especially in the beginning when there's new relationship energy, that shit is a dopamine rush.
Yes.
And you crave it. We naturally are just inclined to do whatever it is to get that dopamine again and again and again. And just being creatures of habit, it's easy to fall into a loop where an expectation has been built really early on.
Absolutely.
And then as the blinders begin to come off, it's not like you're going to all of a sudden see all the negativity and stuff, though. That is something that does happen. But when those blinders come off and it's like, hey, like life exists outside of us, it's kind of hard because you teetered so much in one direction and you didn't have that. You didn't maintain that balance, that now to try to go back in the other direction, it's gonna feel so drastic to people.
Right. Because you gotta, you're right. I had to scale it like that now.
I mean, and it also takes managing and expressing expectations and just communicating those things early on. I know some people that for a lot of people, daily communication is a thing. It is not a thing for me. I do not need to communicate with anyone daily. And so if that doesn't work, that's fine. We ain't gotta be together. That's just, so just communicate those things early on. So so people don't feel like they're being duped, because there's a lot of resentment and stuff that comes out of that once those blinders begin to come off.
Right. So Mike, when that, in those instances when it happened, did you guys have a conversation about that being the way you felt? Like you felt like maybe you needed to do other things? Like, was that explained, or was it just left alone and never talked about?
No, it was explained. It was explained that I like time. I like to take time for myself. Like I feel like I want to do that in the relationship that I have now, is take my time away from stuff. Like maybe I play my game, but I don't want to be random with playing my game anymore. Like just, pick it up and just start playing it. But then now it's at all these weird times that I'm not communicating to someone and I'm dealing with, okay, I'm playing my game at this time. or whatever the case is.
I think
I will say that I'm gonna go home on this day and I'm gonna do it this day. I'm gonna play my game or something like that. I'm gonna spend time because it just gives comfortability, it gives peace of mind, it gives security to somebody and stuff like that to let them know, all right, he's out here, he's just doing this. You know what I mean? I'm going to stream. I'm going to do this. Whatever it was that I was doing. This is even back in fucking 2021 when I was doing that shit. Like I never was good at explaining stuff. I would just randomly just start doing things because that's just where my brain took me. I'll stare at my Xbox. I kind of missed this game, but then it's like, oh shit, like I was supposed to hang out with this person today and completely forget about it because I spent too much. I done spent 3 hours knowing I had to be somewhere at like 5 o'clock, but now it's 4:50 and I'm rushing now. And I'm like, fuck, like I wasn't prioritizing myself. I wasn't doing so. Now I'm just like, yo, I got to spend time with myself and do things for myself. Like I go to movies by myself, everything. Like, listen.
So I guess the question is, was when you felt that way, was it articulated? When you started to feel that way, did you say first of all, did you say it to that person? And if you did, when you started to feel like you needed to do some things for yourself, did you tell your partner that? And how was that received? Was it received as rejection or with understanding?
I can't really tell. I ain't gonna lie to you. Because some people would just say, okay, but you don't know how that okay means. I don't even, because I'm not, it ain't, I guess in that moment, I wouldn't tell you that I would just go and be like, well, what do you mean in this okay? Because I feel like that'd be a little antagonizing in a way, like to try to figure out more than what's actually just being said to me. If you say okay, and it's just that, but then you really got a problem with it later on.
I think she wasn't. I think she. It sounds like you're answering the question as if she was asking in general, and she was asking specifically about the relationship that you had.
Yeah.
No, I'm answering it. That's what happened. Like,
they were just like,
okay, you can't tell what that okay is. I can't tell what that okay is. I'll say I can't tell what that okay is, so I'm basing it off of okay. This is what this. I will go home and I'll play my game, and then we'll come back, and it'll be like, all right. Like,
I guess what I mean is like, so even if they said okay, did you didn't notice a shift in their attitude when it came down to?
No, I noticed it. That's why.
So that's what I mean. I don't mean like what was their immediate response, because everybody's gonna be like, all right. Mm-hmm. But like, what is the actual way they like? What was the reaction that you could see? Like, was it met with an attitude? Were they bothered when you weren't able to do things with them, or were they okay because you said it? Like, right. If you can tell if the okay was really okay, if they're really not bothered, or when you do have to go and when you're saying you're going to do your own thing, like how is that met? Is it met with an attitude, or are they just fine?
But that's what I'm saying. I didn't tell right there and then. I couldn't tell what that okay was.
No. I'm
about to explain. I'm about to go further with it. It's what happens afterwards. It's what happens when it's like it comes back and it's like in the conversation. Well, we usually do stuff on a Saturday, but you decided to just go home and said, oh, okay. Like, I explained like, hey, I like my time for myself at this point now. I have to pick that. I have to choose that. We actually explained that to each other. We talked about that, like beforehand. So why it's now a problem if I do act on it now, because we were just, there's a time now where I'm like, okay, I'm choosing to go home because I'm like, all right, I'm choosing to go home because I'm like, all right, I'm gonna spend some time doing this or whatever the case is. All right, that's fine.
Did y'all breeze through that conversation when you first had it? Because like if you have an in-depth conversation about that, I'm trying to understand how couldn't the problem be mitigated almost immediately when it came up down the line versus it being an issue that now you have to say, well, this is
when I told you. That's why I said if I'm not hanging out with people in this moment, or I'm not doing a particular thing in this moment, if I choose to do it later on down the line because we spent so much time with each other, it can change how somebody feels. And I understand that about something now. That's why I said it was more or less understanding this is how it was for me. It was like communication had to be a little bit different at this point now.
So, and this is not to say that you did this wrong. So let me just preface it with that. Just because you say I communicated to you that I needed more time for myself, doesn't mean that your person felt comfortable with that.
Mhm.
You communicated it, yes, which is good. But that doesn't mean that because you communicated, it just made it okay.
Mhm.
Because at this point, there is even unconsciously a certain expectation of the type of time that you guys spend together. And
Mhm.
so maybe just in you communicating that, like even in the simple act of you communicating it, in her mind, she interprets it as, oh, well, maybe he's telling me that he needs more time. Why does he now need more time for himself when before it was fine for him to spend all his time with me? And if the
Mhm.
conversation is just left at okay, you have to know that there's 1,000 things like that are still running in like their mind, making them think about, well, okay, well, he said this is the reason why, but is this really the reason why? And how does this make me feel? Because I liked spending a lot of time. Yeah, that's what he wants, but that might not be what I want. So if later down the line this happens and they come to you and be like, well, I thought we always do this on Saturdays. If your response is, well, I told you, just because you told them doesn't mean that they don't feel the way. You know what I mean? Just because you communicated what was important to you doesn't mean that they don't stop feeling a way.
Mhm.
Because if this was something that you always did together and they liked it and they enjoyed that, if y'all every Saturday went somewhere together and all of a sudden it stops, even though you communicated you needed more time, it doesn't mean that just because you communicated that it still felt okay for them. If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, no, I understand it.
Yeah.
I understand it completely. Like that's why it's like for me, I get like that you have this moment where somebody's going to feel some type of way about you making an adjustment or making a move or whatever the case is. But sometimes that's just what you need in that moment for yourself. You can't really, I don't know if you can explain it 100%. It just, you good, Mark?
No, I was trying to join the chat, but I have to sign in, and I don't remember nothing. So,
it's just like I said, it's a little, it's something that you feel like you kind of need for yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
I get that.
you know, you try to dedicate yourself to certain things, and like I said, yeah, circumstances change, things change within everything. So it's like, you know, like that's just the gift and the curse of being in relationships or being in situations where like you're communicating something in the beginning and things change within. Things change within. Not everybody's going to stick to what you said in the beginning. And that's something that I had to do and learn. And I also, I hate being that person that feels like I will be barreling down. Remember, I told you this. Remember, I told you this. Remember, I told you. Like it feels robotic. Like I'm also, like I'm literally just making sure that I keep constantly reminding you that this is what it is. This is what it is. This is what it is. Because I don't know. I just, like I said, I just move with whatever it is. If I feel like if I give enough time, and it's not like I showed up Saturday and was like, hey, I'm going home.
Right. And
you know what I mean? Like, or I showed up Sunday
that,
and say, yo, I'm going home, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that.
Right.
I say stuff way in advance. Like,
and it's not to say that what you said was wrong or what you did was wrong, but it's just a matter of just like saying out loud, there is, for every action, there's a reaction. And so just like you saying you want to change like the way you guys spend time with each other, you also have to expect that reaction, the reception of that might not be what you think it's going to be.
Oh no, I get it. I get
so,
it.
To Mark really quick in the comments, when you say relationships are too much, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by relationships are too much? And like Mike, what do you say to communicate how you operate in life and in relationships versus like oh yeah, like I like to take time for myself every now and then versus like saying what I would tell people, I don't center romantic relationships. It's not something that I prioritize. You understand that there's a basis in how I corely function through my relationships, in that I do not give priority to relationship types. And if somebody understands that about me from the jump, and they are like, oh yeah, I don't, we would know off the bat that there's going to be a fundamental difference between the two of us. You know, and that just further, we can avoid what could happen later down the road. You know? So I kind of just say that to say that or the point that I'm trying to make is,
He was asking a
uh,
question.
yeah. I mean, well, I wouldn't expect you to answer it right
I can answer it.
now.
I can
Oh,
answer
okay.
it. Yeah. Are you want to completely still ask it, or are you good for me to answer?
Yeah. What do you communicate with people to express how you operate versus things that you just do?
Yeah. So when I express how I operate, I just say like, hey, I've learned over a period of time that I've lost myself into relationships before, where I've made everything about the person that I was with, and then like never really when it was time to get away from it, it was like a big ass bomb was going off every time we would have situations or arguments or whatever the case is, and we didn't take time to ourselves to know who we are outside of the relationships. So I lost myself within being with somebody, and I don't want to do that. I would rather just, hey, you do some things for yourself, like, go hang out, go whatever, do things for you, and I'll do things like, and there's things I'm going to do for myself.
So
Like,
you don't see how that could be an issue to tell the person, like,
in the beginning,
I don't do these things, but then you go this long period of doing the opposite of what that was.
no. It doesn't mean that I spend. I'm just using examples. I don't necessarily always just spend the whole entire time with just one. At this point, I'm not just doing that all like at one time. What it is that when you get used to, that's why I said maybe 2 or 3 Saturdays, it wouldn't be that much time in between the two. Maybe I'll spend some time of this month with you, but there's going to be a point where I'm like, okay, I'm going here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Like I've explained that I'm not like 6 months, a year into it, and then I'm like, hey, I want to go home. I just said that, hey, a lot of the times, circumstances in my life kind of put me in position to really spend time with you if I wanted to be social with people. Like I'm not necessarily go home. If I wanted to go out and be around people, you're now the person. I don't want to make nobody feel like they're in the back burner, but I'm like, hey, I was looking forward to possibly hanging out with friends, or doing this or doing that, but I don't have the time to now hang out with them, or even trying to figure, there's times where I've hit you up, like, there's times where I've hit you up where it's like, yo, what you doing today? And you be like, oh, I'm booked up to this point. Like you've told me what your schedule is like.
I booked 3-month slots. Like
yeah,
I booked in 3-month chunks.
You tell me what you're booked up to. So like, all right, cool. I'll ask my homie Vis. I'll ask my man John. I'll ask sometimes I'll hit Tom up, at times where I've hung out with Bass. I'll go and ask people, but then people be unavailable. Then I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll do this now because I want to be social with somebody, like as opposed to probably sitting in the house and playing the game. So I know what's happening within it. But there's also me still saying like, yeah, I'm probably going to do this and chill. Not being anything like, yeah, I'm going to sit home and play the game. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And sometimes I do realize that can bother people because well, why you need to play the game? You could just be here with me.
Mm-hmm.
You could be here doing this. And it's like, okay, like, and I guess it gets to the point where it's like, I don't want it to feel like I'm not paying somebody any attention or I'm putting them on the back burner for things that I enjoy in my life or that I want to do. You know what I mean? So, like I said, it's not like something that I've started off and I'm like every single day, every single weekend, every single this is just dedicated to that person. No, there's times where I will go and do this particular thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's times where maybe we aren't on good pages and I'll choose to stay home because I'm like, yo, we're not on good pages with each other. So I'm going to choose to do this because the time with you is not doing it for me mentally. I don't know how to be in this space anymore and have these conversations and certain things. I might have to move from a distance and say, okay, this is what's happening. This is what it is when this way or whatever the case is.
Is anybody in the comments, Conman or Mark, able to come on and further talk? Because like I can press things in what people are saying, but
yeah,
I think it's not gonna translate well to chat.
So I'll read it. Mark was saying in response to Marcus's question, expectations that people have for one another is crazy nowadays for relationships, period. And then Common was saying, I think Mark is saying a lot of relationships nowadays are very taxing and a waste of investment, that while you put your energy in a relationship, the least stressful, beneficial route would be to focus on yourself and your career.
That ain't what Mark's saying at all.
Yeah, no, not our market.
Oh, that Mark. I
No,
was gonna
coddle.
say.
Yeah,
Oh,
Mark.
my bad comment.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
wait,
No.
I don't think that's what that
People
Mark
are
said at
focused
all.
on their personal needs and gains in relationships versus how they can be helpful and contribute to their overall solution.
Oh,
I mean, hey,
that's
if you don't want to do
Mhm.
the work, then yeah, focus on yourself.
Yeah.
If not doing the work to make any kind of relationship work, whether it be romantic or platonic, if you don't want to do the work, then yes, focus on yourself. It's a matter of what you prioritize and what's important to you. If having relationships and you're willing to put in the work in, then it's not. If you're willing to put the work in, then it isn't taxing.
Right. If like so much of people's perspectives are self-fulfilling prophecies.
Mm-hmm.
And if you move about in dating and in relationships and stuff, they're thinking that like the least stressful, beneficial route would be to focus on yourself. Yeah, don't be in a relationship.
Yeah.
Like you've already cast that out there. And so everything you interact with is going to definitely like feel like that in some regard. So yeah, like
comment, should relationships feel like work?
No,
it shouldn't, but nothing worth having doesn't take a little work. Everything is not just like easy and copy and paste.
Right.
And that's just a fact of life. Nothing worth having doesn't require a little bit of work.
I mean,
can it feel exhausting and tiring? No. But yeah, a little bit of work does go into anything that's like worth it.
Mm-hmm. Like people talk about focusing on yourself and stuff and getting a job and everything like that. Like you go ahead, like motherfuckers be grinding away at a job for 40 years for a business that don't give a fuck about them.
Right.
Where's
the overall point you're making is that you just got to be find what makes you happy and do that shit. Like you worrying about. I mean, you can grind within being happy and doing your thing. Like do what you want to do. Like create the things that works for you instead of like a lot of people like shut themselves down and say, oh, I'm gonna just do this. I'm not focusing on anything else but this particular thing. And that speaks on what Mark is saying. Like you working your ass off and you don't nobody listen, you can take a bullet to the butt cheeks the next day. And now that hard work, just go to the next man up. That's it. Oh, well, he's gone. Let's put somebody else in this space. Like you can grind, you can do whatever, but still do what makes you happy.
I think that the word investment is such a hyperbolic term when people talk about relationships. And I often want to know
what's up, Joe?
Investment. What are people talking about when they talk about investment? Like what exactly is that?
I guess it could be anything, like the time, the energy, the learning someone. Financially, you can invest in a relationship and making it, work.
Joe, you have to come up, Joe.
I just feel like
your time.
Send a message, Joe.
Relationship, you know what I mean?
I feel like there's so much that's overlooked in the journey, in the growth, in the learning. If you're spending 100 hours a week to play and grind at a video game and get smoked in the first round of a tournament, do you feel like you wasted your investment? Like you've gained so much over that journey to even be there in the first place. Yeah. And so when people like apply this logic to relationships, I'm just like, what exactly are you talking about?
Right. Yeah, no, I get what you mean. It's basically like this. Anything that you put the work into, if it's not worth it for you, then of course you're not going to put the work in. Of course you're not going to invest because it's not worth it for you. Right. You put work into what means something to you, what's worth it. So if that relationship isn't worth it to you, then of course you're not going to put forth any work. You don't want to work on it. You don't want to invest.
And that's the self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right. It means nothing to you. If it means something to you, then putting forth the work, the time, the investment is not, it's maybe when you lose it all, it feels like a bit of a loss because you put time into it, but over time you did it for a reason.
Right. And you can't look back on all the things that you did in that time and you think you didn't gain anything from it.
Right.
What? There's such a lack of introspection in that.
Yeah. I think that's That's probably the more demoralizing thing I've learned about relationships is when it's over, y'all play about what all the things that went wrong with it and stuff like that. And then when you move on to your next one, all of it is about everything that's wrong. Like I have told people, like, I don't think I ever want to just listen to what's wrong with it. Like, yo, tell me what good came out of y'all stuff. I know that's a weird question. That's just what I choose to do. What good happened with y'all and everything too? Like, did you is there anything that was fun that you can remember about the person? Because so many people are so scared to hear about somebody else making their person happy or giving their person good dick compared to you and all types of shit. And it's like, I don't care about none of that stuff. That does not bother me at all I want to know is, hey, did you have fun with what you were doing? You know, like
Yeah.
how was it? I don't want to, y'all all, everybody is, if you break up, obviously it was bad. That's the obvious part. You're here because of that, you know, like you're not here because of anything different. So,
or
like,
even if all terrible things happen, the lesson that you learned from it that you can carry on to put you in the next situation is what you took out.
Right.
Like we all get something out of it, even if it's just the lesson that we learned.
Right. Don't sit back and give me the whole story. Yo, y'all motherfuckers have been to Disneyland, Disney World, Orlando Studios. I don't want the trips. Y'all done did so much. Y'all done had smiles, fun, bang, bang, bang. And the only thing you wanted to sit back and talk to me about is how y'all had this really bad fight. And it was this like, okay, I get that. We can talk about that.
I'm looking at that. Yeah. Nailed it.
It's because most people need energy to be angry and because they can't take accountability for themselves in order to walk away. Common was saying, I don't think Mark was saying not to put in any work,
but that the expectation nowadays are unrealistic to invest in at all. There's a name for that fallacy. Oh crap. Oh, what is that called? It's not the zero-sum game. There's a name for that because you know, it's like, oh well, if there's a possibility for this not to go to completion or whatever, it's not worth trying at all. I don't know, because I feel like no matter how odd you think or how far-fetched or out there that you think your expectations are that others are, there's somebody that fucks with it.
That I think I was going in a different way. I was going to say, listen, yes, some people's expectations are unrealistic for you, but they're not unrealistic for someone else.
Right.
What you have to do is find someone whose expectations make sense to you and and they understand your expectations. The question is, are you willing to do the work to get to that point? Like, of course, not everybody's expectations are going to fit everyone. That's not your person. Your person, your people are the people who you guys have similar expectations and you can understand each other's expectations.
Like I'm non-monogamous. I don't even center romantic relationships. I'm queer and I'm fat. Yet I still got a handful of people that I'm in a relationship with and we fucking ride for each other. Like, trust me, it's somebody out there.
Yeah, find your people.
Like, what's this sample size you're drawing from? You know,
but you know what? It's just
like people get rejected by one woman, and then all of a sudden,
I was about to see. That's what I wanted to. That's what I wanted to say. It literally is what I have been. Remember when I hit you up and I'm like, yo, people complain about this thing. Like, it's always what one person did to them. It equates to everybody. Like everybody now gets lumped into this big ass circle of, oh man, this ain't working, so I ain't fucking. First of all, you know what the person that you're dealing with. You know the person that you're dealing with. If that person is that way, and you find another person that's similar, only thing is that's just the fucking thing that's in the back of your mind to remember that type of person. You remember that type of person, so you think you're going to get a different version of the person that you dealt with before, and they might be slightly better than this. But let's all be real about it. How a person looks is what's the reason why you're staying there. If you go and Carisha or somebody like that, I'm not throwing them out there, but I'm just using her as an example because she is considered a city girl. She's considered this. She's considered that. If she come walk by you, you see Carisha's body, your ass is going right for it. You don't give a fuck about what we're writing in these comments right now. You don't give a fuck about that. Because guess what you're trying to do? Hit Carisha from the back. You know exactly what you're trying to do. And now that you done ran into that situation, that problem now is when you kind of get used to it a little bit, and then Now it's time for y'all to start having the conversation, and now she's showing up a certain way. You like, well, nigga, you ain't trying to figure the first part out first. You was dealing with the you wanted to fuck the body. So when you fuck the body, the mind had to come down and come into the play now. That part had to come show up, and now it's like, oh, I don't like these type of women now. Why these women exist? Yeah, but you liked it when you was first talking to it, so.
Oh, I was reading comments.
No, go ahead.
Yes, says, and to B for B, there are people who waste your time. I'm not arguing that. To say that it was a wasted investment is accurate. Some people leave relationships broken and worse off than when they started. And I think a lot of people understand the sentiment of not wanting to be God's strongest soldier. Yeah, definitely agree with that. There are people that waste your time. Do you date? Is the only reason you interact with people is to date and marry and eventually die alongside them?
For some people, it is.
It's that's the gate for every person that you that you interact with. It's.
Are you meaning him specifically?
Yeah, him specifically. Well, I mean, I know that there's people that think that way. Yeah, that just sounds like that does sound like a lot of work.
I mean, but he's not alone.
I know that's like.
But he's not alone. A lot of people are dating with purpose and with the hope of having a potential outcome. And so when they put a lot of work into a person and that person wastes their time, it feels like a loss of investment in time and emotions and all the things that you put into it to make this relationship work.
I interact with people to get to know them. I just feel like that there's stages that's being jumped here.
But not everybody operates on that same plane.
I get that. And me trying to put it into perspective sounds to me, I'm looking at it, I'm like, holy shit, this shit sounds like it's a whole lot of goddamn work. I would feel completely perturbed, if I have the expectation that whoever I'm interacting with is like somebody that I'm expecting to marry.
The fact that if I was the one to say perturbed, I would have been getting ate the fuck alive right now. Yo,
you be saying other shit. Like you be like,
yeah, you be saying stuff like
you be saying Scooby-Doo phrases like G Willikers.
Yeah, be like
I ain't never.
You be like that really grinds my gears. Like
you was like, oh, that was malarkey. Like
I ain't never say that word.
But that's the stuff you be
that
saying.
Really grinds my gears, like stuff like that. Like you be saying.
I never said that shit either.
You hear like in a cartoon.
Sound like something Elmer Fudd or Daffy Duck is saying.
I've already stated the point of me dating is to get to know people, and I just like to enjoy my time with people. And even with that perspective on things, I have a lot of people that are really close to me that I interact with. Some of them I call romantic partners, others I just call loves, and some I just call friends.
So but to answer comment, I think the thing that might be lost in translation here is that both of you are seeking out very different things in what you want for your relationships, and that's why the desired outcome is different, and that's okay. Right. So of course you're not going to understand his desired outcome and he doesn't necessarily understand yours because you both are wanting two totally different things from your relationships. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the getting to know them process isn't there in his process for what he wants. That's
right. It's a full package. Right. Yeah, right. It's a full package deal.
Like of course I'm getting to know. That's part of the investment that I lost. I spent so much time trying to get to know you and who you are. And then and that's just part of the investment that he put into his relationship. So I think the thing that might be being lost here between the two of you in this conversation is both of you are valuing two totally different things when it comes to the overall outcome of what the relationship is going to be. And because of that, what you look at as an investment might not be the same thing that he looks at. And him getting to know a person is only part of the package. It's part of the deal, but there's so much more into it. And so when that falls short, when he's putting forth all that effort, getting for it to know, getting used to a person, trying to get to know them, and all the other things that go along with it, building trust, all that stuff, and it goes away, it can feel like a loss.
I do have my cake and eat it too.
I
actually like when people say that, because it's like, I mean, that's what cake is there for. Why don't you have it and eat it? I don't.
Well, I mean, Common, you do know that he's not a monogamous.
Right. And that's the other thing. It's like I'm not monogamous.
So he's not looking for
one person
and a long time.
And I have people that I consider life partners. I have people that I would absolutely love to die alongside of. Those things do exist.
Mm-hmm.
And my relationships have a lot of depth. But I think one of the things that is fundamentally different is that I'm not looking for one person to be this entire package deal. And that I think that in that lies a lot of unrealistic expectations that gets casted out.
Some thug ass shit to say.
I mean,
I'm just playing, yo. I don't fuck around.
It just is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's the thing that is making that bridge of understanding kind of like a little shaky between the two of you. Both of you are looking for two totally different things in your relationships. Right. And so what he sees as a loss in investment, you don't see it that way, just because there's two different things. And it's not to say that he doesn't get the lesson out of it if the relationship ends. It's just like when you think about all the work that you can put into a particular goal, whether it be marriage or it be whatever, like dating. Right. It can feel like, damn, I put so much into this, and it can feel like a loss, of course. But the part that I don't understand is I don't understand how it's a total loss. I just don't get how it's a total loss. But and maybe he's not saying that it's a total loss, that there is something that he gained from it and moved forward to apply to his interactions in the future that would hopefully weed out those things that he doesn't want early on, so he isn't wasting his time. And that's where I come in with like, well, what's the sample size for this? Because at what point are you constantly sticking to the same script every time you interact with somebody? Because I guarantee you that it's just not going to work if you're doing it in that way. There has to be some growth in there some way to dampen those buffers and to be able to vet and weed people out that that, hey, there's some fundamental differences that we're just not going to click on, rather than just casting, hey, relationships nowadays is just too much and it's not even worth getting into. Yeah. At what point is like you came to such a loss that you were like, I ain't doing it no more?
Yeah. Right. Because even in that lesson, and there's nothing wrong with saying it, but saying it to yourself is one thing. I'm just being honest. Like certain words you put out there influences others to feel the same exact way you do. So if you go and you're trying to teach a young man how to do relationships, is your lesson to him, don't do relationships. They're hard. They this, they that. Or do you tell them, or do you try to help them learn experiences? Because I think one thing we don't do is go dive in deep to see how we can even learn it a little bit more. Like I deal with shit all the time. Like I'm nowhere near perfect. I'm still trying to figure shit out my damn self when it comes to communicating with people, period.
Right.
Like, only thing I can do is just stop myself, ask questions, and say, okay, what's going on here? Okay, what's happening with this? Like, because maybe I rather not have a conversation that is going to just fall off the rails, and I'm over here just saying all types of shit, just throwing all types of stones. I'm not doing that. I'm going to keep asking questions. If I'm confused, if I'm this, if I'm that, I'm going to say something. I'm confused. I might say some shit that might be wrong, and it's like, yo, you just said some shit wrong. Oh, okay. Well, what did I say that was wrong? So I can learn not to do this again. And maybe I'm off track. I feel like there's a lot of things that goes into it. Like the work isn't trying to make somebody, have a successful relationship with you. Is what you're doing within the relationship. The work is you. You're the work.
So Khan just put up a comment, and I also want to say that, hey, Khan, I'm not I'm not replying to be combative. I'm replying because there's parts of this conversation that I'm just ignorant to, and so I need it to be spelled out for me. Now you said that you don't think principles and boundaries should be on the table for negotiation. I think I know where you're getting with that. Or you know what? Maybe I misread that. I think I read that as principles and boundaries shouldn't just like something that shouldn't be discussed. And I'm like, why not? Like they should definitely all.
He's saying you don't think
they should?
principle-
They should all be discussed. So yeah, like yeah, they shouldn't. Yeah, it shouldn't be up for negotiation. That's the purpose
Right.
of boundaries.
Right. And
Yeah.
I don't think that that's necessarily what he's saying, that you shouldn't like your boundary.
Yeah, no.
negotiate.
And when I read that out loud, that's when my brain
Right.
was like, oh, I think I misread that the first time I saw it.
At the same time, basic your investment and openness to someone who values it of course it gets rewarded when you're with somebody who appreciates it. Absolutely.
That's what I'm glad that you said that. Basic. That's the key thing. It's about who is actually the person that's appreciating that. You know, when somebody's like somebody that's extra excited and happy and all the other stuff of things that you do, especially when you're not used to having that, always raises your eyebrows. Like, this person is actually excited and happy about what's happening. They like what I'm doing. And if that keeps raising you and raising you and raising you up, obviously this person might be your person. It's a potential they can be your person. You keep vetting it, of course. You keep trying to figure other things out, but sometimes your investment is what your standards is for yourself. What your standards is for yourself, you can kind of see it in other people. Just how they interact with themselves, how they interact with the people that's in their life. You know, how they treat family members, how they treat friends, how they treat complete strangers. That shit matters. That matters to me, like big time. I'm one of the people that will legitimately, I hate talking about the things, but like I remember sitting and going to Wawa. I'm only sharing the experience. I don't mind it. But I remember going to Wawa and a guy asked me for some change to just get some coffee. And I just stared at him and I said, yo, come on in. And I bought all the food for him. I said, get whatever you want. I don't care what it is. Get whatever you want. And he was like, man, can I get some coffee? I want to do this. I want to do it. And he got a few things. He didn't try to blow my fucking pocket in half, but he was like, he got what he wanted. And I was like, are you okay? What's going on? And I had a conversation with him just to find out he was from Louisiana. He'd never been here before. He fell on hard times. He told me he was doing drugs, the typical things that were happening for some people that are dealing with homelessness, like, and especially when it comes to drugs. I hear a lot of drug stories when it comes to a lot of people with homelessness. I'm like, damn, like, and they're saying like, it's just that I was in other people's spaces and they kicked me out. That's what he was basically explaining. Like, I just got caught up in the drugs and I got kicked out of my lady's place, all this other stuff. So I'm living like this now. And I was like, do you have a license? Do you have this? Do you have that? And he was like, I don't have a license right now. And I'm like, fuck. Like, because with stuff like that, I will go and talk to, if you can apply to the job and do something, I will go talk to a recruiter and legitimately say, can you look for this person? And can you see if you can pull them in for this? Because I don't want to see it happen this way. Yeah, they're working for a man, but it's like, yo, at least it can help him get on his feet a certain way. You know what I mean? Because that's just my heart. I can't help myself when it comes to stuff like that. I'm automatically going to feel it as soon as I see it. So I want to help them in a different type of way. I don't want to just be like, here goes a change, and just leave them in a space where they keep asking. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna see what I can do as far as if you got a license, if you got certain things, even if you just got an ID to get into the job, I'll go and talk to somebody and see if I can get you into this job. You know what I mean? Like, because that at least puts you in a space where it's like that can help you grow and go somewhere. You know what I mean? I got friends in the position I'm in right now, help them get in there. Like it's one of the biggest reasons why I feel like in life, you have to take care of people. You have to know who exists in your world. Just because I'm not having sex with you, that doesn't mean I don't have to feel the same way for you. I'm going to feel the same way for you. Like as far as if I love somebody, I love somebody. It doesn't mean that I have to make love to you to show that I love you. It just means that I love you and this is what I'll do for you. You know what I mean?
Dog, you said I ain't gotta have sex with you. I thought you were still talking about the homeless man.
No, I'm talking about in a realm of
I know.
like,
I know.
I'm just talking about in the realm of just being who I am.
It's like,
Well,
how
I just wanted
about
to
you coffee? I ain't trying to smash. Like,
I was ending my point by saying that.
I can't. It was just my intrusive thoughts. Just
Like, quit that. You know, stop that shit.
Oh man.
I'm just putting up the stuff that he was saying.
He left off at the homeless man. I'm not trying to smash.
Don't laugh
all
at that
that
shit,
in
Tess.
between, all that in between was gone. Like with the homeless man, that's what we talking about.
Wait, you was thinking the same thing?
No.
Oh, I'm about to say, yo, that's fucking wild, yo. That's wild. Come on,
No. Oh
he's
man.
like, thank you for the coffee. You try.
Oh god, it would have been wild if that was the story. Like we were like, wait, Mike, what happened? Oh my god.
Hey, yo.
No, I just did that up there just to be funny. But I got a really dope
that coffee recipe.
I got a really dope review from somebody, and I thought that was I'm gonna post it up real quick. But before we end this out, I it's weird because I feel like we live in this bubble that we have for ourselves, but sometimes you don't realize like you can do particular things, you can be a certain way that can help and inspire people to feel like motivation, to feel like coming back with something. Somebody legitimately posted up a video and said that she was not feeling it, she wasn't feeling creative, and I guess that live I had a few weeks ago when I was showing my music and stuff inspired her to get back to doing what she was doing. And she said she's been doing it for a little while and literally has been listening to my music the whole entire time. And I'm like, oh man, what the hell did I create? Like,
Wow.
I really am thinking to myself, what did I create? Because my goal was just and I've been making music for a very long time, and it's like I've always laid it to where it is. I have a bunch of songs that sound just the fuck the same in different ways, and then I have songs that I really was sitting back saying, all right, I want to make this sound like this, I want to do that, like and I feel like this previous one legitimately did something different. Like I would never have thought that it would like boom the way that it's doing it. It ain't doing nowhere, no fucking Drake numbers, not at all. But I feel like the people that it's touching are really, really enjoying it. And it's to the point where I'm getting messages from people like, yo, we were sitting in a shop listening to your music, and somebody was like, yo, who the fuck is this? This joint is kind of fire. And it's like, oh, that's fucking dope. Like, I don't know. I'm loving that. Like,
That's
really,
awesome.
I'm really loving that. So I'm gonna show you what she said, or put it up here. Let's delete that. Okay, before we leave out here, I'll put this on. Did y'all have a good show? You had a good show, Basic?
Mm.
I wait for it to close, so I got to talk about something. Shit.
Oh.
Do I really want to know? No, I'm playing. I'm playing.
All the way up into you and your coffee date with the homeless man. It was great.
Damn. The coffee date.
So wait, that whole story wasn't shit, is what you saying? Damn, that's crazy. Oh, my joint in the trash. I'm over here spilling my guts. She said, hey, you chop fuck.
All the way up until you had a coffee date with the homeless man.
No,
I
I'm trying to
enjoyed
get
it
on
all.
a job. That's the whole point behind it. Like, but all right, here's the video right here.
I've had a rough February and beginning to March because I've been sick. I caught the flu and then got bronchitis. So I've had a rough go time. I want to give a big shout out to Mike Hennessy, though. I know we've been associated on this platform for some time now, but I just randomly decided to join his live like 2 weekends ago, and he played me some of his music. And if you are a real person that connects to vibration and sound, I'm not saying it'll work the same for everybody, but it really kicked my creative energy back into where it needed to be. And for the last week, I've been really connected
vid. God, vid.
What is wrong with y'all? You talk about she. I looked at comment. I'm like, what is wrong with y'all?
Why would y'all say?
I
First
mean,
of all, a side note, she's beautiful.
yeah.
She's a beautiful woman. Not the both of y'all talking about she got that vid. What is wrong?
She got that quiet storm voice. Oh,
She did say she had the flu and then bronchitis. She didn't say that though in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
She did.
Y'all so fucked up, yo.
Not my ignorant ass about to go like she got that.
How can I show somebody a clip of appreciation when we making jokes about somebody's voice?
Because we ain't shit, Mike.
Comment talking about she must got COVID. The girl clearly said I got the flu.
Yeah, I ain't putting that.
Oh my god.
No.
No, that was. I mean, jokes aside.
No, not you.
That was decent. That was great.
It was great.
For-
It was.
Yeah. So I appreciated that one, and to get somebody motivation back to, want to do their creativity because of my creativity. That's pretty dope.
That is awesome.
Oh,
That your
yeah, big
music is
goal.
inspiring other people.
Mm-hmm. It's always been a big goal for me. Always, and I feel accomplished because I've been doing it for a long time. So, and it's good to see that it's paying off a little bit. Shit, man. So this other one come out, that shit gonna be even better. You know what I mean? I'm going for the ultimate shit. Like, I need to put some lyrics on it or something like that. But shouts out to her for doing that because that was a random thing. I just got tagged like yesterday, and then showed up, and I can appreciate the fact that some people are actually out here actually listening to that shit and
No, it really is great. I apologize. Black people, we are so unserious. But to be serious, that is great that you're inspiring people to get their creative juices flowing and get back into what their own music and stuff.
Listen, art. I always say like an artist, a person who draws ain't no different than a person who makes music. They need something. Sometimes you got to look at things to be able to come up with something. Like I would have to stare at something and be like, oh shit, I like this. I would have to hear something a certain way. Like music don't always motivate me to want to do it. Sometimes I'll just stare at something. The act of things, like sex, all that shit, love, being around people. Like I've made music because my uncle was my uncle. Like I made a fucking hard music and because it was him. Like, and like stuff like that will motivate a person like that. And I got to figure out what her creativity 100% was, but it just, the fact that it even kickstarted is what was dope about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's basically it. So, all right, I'm gonna do the exit part because I think basically for me to do the exit at this point now. All right.
You make me. I know what we're talking about, and you wrap it up.
I'm wrapping it up right now. Wrap that shit up, B. All right, but listen, thank y'all everybody for coming through and stopping through and doing all the other chilling with us. They getting on my fucking nerves today. Couldn't be serious for shit, but we can't be serious for no motherfucking thing, man. I'm sitting over here, Marcus looking like shit, like I don't give a fuck what's going on. But like I said, shout out for everybody who coming through, everybody on the Facebook side, Twitch side, YouTube side. That's the biggest side that we have. But everybody who is here, please like it. If y'all before y'all leave, you can please like it. Share it out to people because once the show is over, it's able to be replayed back to people. Yeah, and basic, any final words for you?
No. No, it was a great show. I enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you, B for Barkers, for stopping by once again. They are great people.
Yes.
He ain't shit at the same time.
Marcus, how many sets of onesies do you have?
Yeah, a lot of them motherfuckers. He has a whole. Hold on, no, stay right there. I'm gonna pull the video up.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
The fact that he always has it like ready is what's crazy.
Yeah,
my thermostat on 68. I be in onesies all the time.
Really?
Yeah, Like,
Your house is freezing.
Really? How many times?
nah,
did I say the F
68
word,
is.
y'all?
I love it. I'm a polar bear, but I know
Did
when
I say
people
the
come
F word a
over, they
lot?
be like, yeah, your house is too cold.
What do you
Whatever.
mean? Did you say the F word a lot?
Did I say the F word a lot this show?
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, that's an S word. No, I'm playing. That's an S word. No, hold up. We're gonna get. Oh, he got two separate videos of him wearing two different sets of onesies.
It's the second one.
No, you got two different onesies, yo. For both of these motherfuckers. All right.
No, they long. The second one. Just play the second one.
I'm not gonna play the full thing. We're just getting how many onesies you got. So I got 8 right now.
Really?
Thank you, Common.
I got 8.
I don't
Yeah,
think I
8
wore them all. I didn't think I wore
You
them
did. It's
all.
all different onesies. They're all different.
Shit.
Yeah. All different kinds of onesies. Let's see. One.
I love my onesie.
I mean, I think I'd get too hot in a onesie and end up coming out of it.
Yeah, if your heat on hell, mine on 60.
That's true.
Yeah.
It definitely could be on her.
I'll be Gucci. Why your heat on hell? That's a waste.
I get hot. I mean, I don't know. I don't keep the heat on in my house often. I'm just hot natured. Is that what you call it when you get hot really?
I'm just hot natured.
Oh, really? Oh,
Is
that's
that what
surprising because black folk love to be anemic and claim that shit. I don't get enough iron. I'm always cold.
I'm always hot.
I need to suck on a nail or something.
Not a nail.
I mean, how else you gonna get your iron?
I keep mine
Oh
on
my
69
God.
and don't touch it. Shiloh said she keeps hers
Right.
on 69.
That's about the same here. Like, you
Right.
know,
That's what I be telling people. Like, I
if
got
I
extra
get a little
onesies.
chilly, I might put a space
That's
heater
a
on, but
dope
that heat's
number.
not going up. Because I get hot.
Let me stop being my freak boy.
Somebody was talking about space heaters recently, and I remember like the gas or like the kerosene heater in the
Yes.
middle. Yo, it's crazy.
You know who
wanna
was
talk
used to
about-
do that?
You want to talk about
Pam.
a house hazard? Like,
Right.
yo, we was playing with danger as kids.
And my grandparents have one in every room, I think.
God damn.
I remember the
Oh, hell no.
smell. I remember the smell from
No.
just one. You
So
know,
there's one gas. Let me take that back. There was one little gas heater that sat like in the kitchen between the kitchen and living room, but everybody else's, and I would have to take a picture for y'all to really know what I'm talking about. It's like built into the wall. You can turn this knob and the little conductors light up to generate heat. They have those in the rooms. I'm gonna take a picture so I can show y'all.
Shit.
Hold
Yeah,
up.
no,
So
we
look.
we have those in our stations at work. It's like basically oven coils.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So look,
That
right.
electric bill was high.
I
as shit.
remember one day, I'm gonna tell you what I did, right? It was probably I was coming home from school, like Roxborough. I was coming home from Roxborough, and when I say it was so cold, I was my fingers and everything was biting that day. I don't know why, and it was wet. Like I had got my feet wet. I was so cold it made no sense. My dumb ass went because I was so cold, stood over top of the kerosene heater. What Pam used to do was not just had a kerosene heater, she would get this big ass silver pan or pot
Yep.
and put it over top of it so the
Put-
moisture
put some
can
water in it.
evaporate.
Yep.
I stood over top of it and went like this and like put my shirt over it. And I was like, I went from 0 to 100 and got sick immediately. My nose stuffed up. I started everything happened in like seconds.
Oh my God.
I literally caught a head cold, everything. I was fucked up because my temperatures on my body went from one extreme to the next. So it was almost like my body just took a punch right to the stomach. Is infamous for that
Listen.
show.
You didn't see it.
And don't be me. I didn't talk about it. They brought up basically was the one that brought up another question. I ain't say nothing.
What did I bring up? You
Oh,
said,
Wanda, right
do
now,
you
you
want to
start
keep
talking about
talking
something
because I
else.
gotta load up this video.
I'm about to say click.
All right, let me show y'all this video. Show y'all this video. This is the first session one.
Yo, those videos is the
My
shit.
favorite
I
is
fucking love
always the
them.
little teeny weeny one.
Uh-huh.
But y'all thought it was over.
Este tema yo lo escuché, sé que le va a gustar a usted también. Don't worry, be happy. Todo el mundo tiene problemas y dale
my shit.
Wait, did you touch the thing when the ding went
Yeah,
off?
I hit my.
Yeah.
I hit my. Yeah, my.
Yo, those videos are dope as shit, yo. You know how much creativity you got to do that? He did that dance 8 times.
No, because it was
8
It's
different
from them
times.
parade videos. That shit be
Oh, I
on
know.
my
I
timeline.
just happen to watch them.
I be watching them all the time.
He said, "Look like a gremlin." Are you trying to say a gremlin? Yeah.
No,
Grimace
Grimace.
at the bottom. The Grimace
Grimace?
from
Oh,
McDonald's.
McDonald's,
Grimace.
the purple one. Oh, that was your what suit was that?
That was
your
the Gengar one.
the Gengar outfit. Okay. All right. Got you. All right. Well, that was it. All right. I'm done with the show now. I hope y'all enjoyed that little tiny video. And shouts out. We'll see y'all next week. Yeah, go ahead and get up them hearts and shit.
Where's it at?
This
There
is
we
what
go.
happens when you have an iPhone. Do the double joint, right? Do that
Which one? These?
2-piece songs together.
It doesn't do it all the time.
It does. It's gonna do it today.
Yo, when you was on your live early this morning, I was talking about like iPhone and Samsung real quick, and I was about to put in the comments that iPhones is for people that like low learning curves, but I ain't want to start a fight, so I ain't say that shit. But I still
Who was
believe
talking about
that. Somebody in the live was talking about their Samsung. Oh, the one dude that came on and he was muted for like 2 minutes. And then he was saying, 'cause he's like, "Oh, it's my microphone. It only hooks up when I got."
Oh, when somebody made a comment that like, "Oh yeah, that's because you got the Android."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, Androids are way more advanced." Listen, I don't
Yeah.
argue phones. I ain't no fucking weirdo. Goodbye, y'all.